What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Caffeinate today for April the 4th of 2019. My name is Samuel Adams, and welcome to today's show. Of course, as always, I hope this one finds you well, and if you are brand new to the show, this is a daily gaming newscast in which I break down the hottest gaming news from around the industry, and I pack it up in one tight, neat little package for you to enjoy if you did want to check it out live 5 days a week on twitch.tv/thesamueladams. Of course, then going up on podcast services and YouTube as well if you did want to check it out in a different kind of format. But with that being covered, what are we going to be talking about today? Borderlands 3 is going to be coming out on September the 13th officially, and it is going to be exclusive to the Epic Games Store on PC at launch for 6 months. On top of that, we are going to be talking about several new details revealed about the Vault Hunters you will be playing as, and of course there is a big new trailer if you did want to check it out. And by big new trailer, I mean that it's pretty much going to be about a minute and a half of general information. But also, you get to check out Borderlands 3, so that's not too shabby. Epic will continue to sign exclusives, even for games already on Steam. That's a big piece of news that we're going to be talking about. Battlefield 5 is introducing premium currency today. No loot boxes, but premium currency is now in the game. A rumor lists retail listings that show Persona 5 Switch and Metroid Prime Trilogy are both going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch on top of a very prominent Legend of Zelda title. An Apex Legends fix has restored the progression that you might have noticed you lost yesterday, and the Call of Duty Endowment has placed a lot of veterans in jobs, and we will cover that at the end of today's show as a good feel-good story to kick you off into your Thursday, April the 4th. But with that being said, I do hope you enjoy today's show, and without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it, shall we? Borderlands 3 is coming on September the 13th, exclusive to the Epic Games Store on PC. Borderlands 3 is coming to PS4, Windows PC, and Xbox One on September the 13th. Developer Gearbox Software and publisher 2K announced on Wednesday. The PC version of Borderlands 3 will be exclusive to the Epic Games Store until April of 2020. A new trailer for Borderlands 3, highlighting the 4 new playable Vault Hunters and the evil duo they'll go up against, the Calypso twins, is available above if you did want to check out the article. More details about the game are promised on May the 1st when Gearbox will hold a gameplay reveal event livestream, and Gearbox also offer new details on the quartet of all new Vault Hunters coming to Borderlands 3, and here are their official descriptions. You have Mose as the gunner. When Mose needs backup, she digistructs her mech, Iron Bear, for a sucker punch of additional firepower. Amara as the Siren, a confident, capable brawler with the ability to summon Ethereal Fist, and Amara uses her Siren powers to smash her enemies. Flak as the Beastmaster, and Flak has a 4 instead of an A because edgy or whatever. Yeah. Flak lives for the hunt. So do the loyal beasts that follow their master's every command. Their preferred prey, unsuspecting bandits, those poor suckers. And Zane as the operative. Specializing in battlefield gadgetry, Zane is the extremely proficient at slipping into combat, creating chaos, and sneaking back out as if he were never there. Gearbox also teased New Worlds Beyond Pandora, where players can loot for the series' trademark bazillions of guns, including firearms, with self-propelling bullet shields, rifles that spawn volcanoes, and guns that grow legs, hunt down targets, and verbally insult them. Of course, that's a necessity for any kind of gun, one that verbally insults. A new leveling syncing system will also make playing cooperatively with friends easy, I would assume. I feel like they left out a word here in the Polygon article. Regardless of your story experience progression according to a fact sheet. So, perhaps you can figure out there with a little Mad Lib what they meant by that. 2K and Gearbox have 4 editions of Borderlands 3 coming this fall, ranging in price from $59.99 to $249.99. Here is a breakdown of each version. So with the standard edition of the game for $60, you get the base game, as you would expect. For $80, you include the base game as well as bonus digital content, including several cosmetic packs, a toy box weapon pack, and XP and loot drop boost mods. Borderlands 3 Super Deluxe Edition for $100 includes all the bonus digital content and pre-order bonuses of the Digital Deluxe Edition, plus the Borderlands 3 Season Pass, which includes 4 campaign DLC packs featuring new stories, missions, and challenges, and Butt Stallion weapon skin, weapon trinket, and grenade mod. And of course, then you have the Diamond Loot Chest Collector's Edition for $249.99. This includes the full game, the Season Pass, and all bonus digital content, as well as pre-order bonus of the Super Deluxe Edition. Plus, Diamond Loot Chest Replica Borderlands 3 character figurines, 10 of them including the 4 new Vault Hunters, the Calypso twins, and other characters from the Borderlands universe, approximately 3 inches tall. That's not a big action figure. Sanctuary 3 snap model, Vault key keychains, I suppose I should say, ×4, cloth galaxy map, character art lithographs ×5, character prints starring the new Vault Hunters and the Calypso twins, and a Borderlands 3 steelbook case if you did want to keep your disc in a very nice steelbook case for additional cosmetic appeal and protection. But again, the game is going to be coming out on Windows PC, Xbox One, and PS4 on September the 13th if you did want to check it out. And I must say, some of these screens that have been shared are absolutely stunning. This is going to be a beautiful game. Very excited about this one. But it is without a doubt going to be one of the biggest releases of the fall. However, a lot of people are upset about the fact that it's going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive. And if you actually go to the YouTube video and look at it for yourself, I apologize for the video auto-playing, but if you look at it for yourself, the like to dislike ratio is actually 333,000 likes. Excuse me, back up. 33,000 likes versus 19,000 dislikes, which is relatively different in comparison to the announcement trailer that we saw last week, in which you actually saw an overwhelming abundance of positive response to this. And again, to some degree, I understand the response with the Epic Game Store exclusivity, but it's a bit outlandish to be this upset about it. So with that being said, Epic has responded and said they will continue to sign exclusives even for games already on Steam. So let's break this one down, shall we? Epic CEO Tim Sweeney said the decision to go exclusive is ultimately up to developers and publishers. "We don't want to do that ever again," Epic Game Store boss Steve Allison said in March, in the wake of the uproar over Metro Exodus making a last-minute move from Steam to Epic. Then it did something very similar anyway with Anno 1800. "Although that game will remain available for pre-purchase on Steam until it launches, a fair compromise, I think," the author says, but a distinction that didn't make much of a difference in the eyes of unhappy gamers. Earlier this week on Twitter, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney clarified the company's position, saying that after some post-GDC discussion, it was decided that the final call is ultimately up to individual developers and publishers, and of course you can check out his interaction here. At GDC, Steve Allison said, "We don't want to do that ever again," when asked about the Metro Exodus controversy. Sweeney tweeted, "This prompted further discussions at Epic, leading to the realization that these calls must be up to developers and publishers, and Epic wouldn't tell them no on account of existing statements made about Steam." It is worth remembering that Allison's full comments were more nuanced than simply, "We don't want to do that anymore," too. He said at GDC that Epic had been talking to Metro Exodus publisher Deep Silver for a number of months prior to the changeover, and that the problem from Epic's perspective wasn't making the game exclusive, but doing it so last minute. "Now we're live and we have a view out in time and we can work with everybody. We have a case study where it says maybe we should make our decisions earlier, and we will," Allison said. And in the future, he said that Epic will definitely not be doing exclusives on the scale we're doing them now. Gearbox announced earlier today that Borderlands 3 will be an Epic Game Store exclusive for 6 months following its September 13th release date. Of course, we just talked about that in the previous story. But what's interesting about this story is actually this small little bit here. And in the future, he said that Epic will definitely not be doing exclusives on the scale we're doing them now. I think that gives you a hint as to what's actually happening here. They need people to get on board with the Epic Games launcher, and this is something that I think they're doing incredibly well with these exclusives. Of course, Metro Exodus sold incredibly well on the Epic Game Store as compared to previous entries in the game. A lot of industry shifting goes into that entire changeover. Not just the Epic Game Store exclusivity, of course, but when it comes down to it, they are trying to bring in these exclusives to get people to download the Epic Game Store launcher and to really become a part of that Epic Games ecosystem to maintain it as they do move away from buying these exclusives. And of course, Borderlands 3 is a massive get for them whenever it comes down to it, because this is one of the biggest games for 2019. A lot of people are upset about this. Of course, there are a variety of reasons that people cite for being upset. Of course, many people cite a laundry list of missing features from the Epic Games launcher and the Epic Games Store overall. But if you look at the development timeline of the Epic Games Store, it is still very much so in its infancy. It is not a storefront that has been fleshed out entirely. They are still working on it day to day to day. It's not something that is by any means in maturity at this point. What they are doing is building a fantastic platform. I think that as time goes on and as more features are added to the store and to the launcher, I think it's going to be a big competitor with Steam. In fact, I would go so far as to say the only legitimate competition that Steam has at this point. And of course, competition is always healthy. Now, when it comes down to it, I still hold my stance that if you are upset about this kind of thing, it literally is you downloading a free launcher and you have one more icon on your desktop. Really, that's truly what it is. But I understand why some people are upset. Again, if you go down to the YouTube comments, you too can find out why many people are upset if you return to that Borderlands 3 announcement trailer. But if you did want to check out the trailer itself, again, it's up right now on YouTube. If you did want to learn more, every article is linked down below. But the Epic Game Store exclusivity will continue on for the foreseeable future, though in the future not quite as harshly as amplified as we see it being right now. Now let's talk about Battlefield 5, because Battlefield 5 is introducing a premium currency today. It has been 5 months since Battlefield 5 first emerged onto store shelves, but one thing has been conspicuously absent ever since its premium currency. It doesn't have it. This will not be the case for much longer, as Battlefield 5 is finally introducing paid currency tomorrow. With the inspiring name of Battlefield Currency, the premium coins can be used to purchase cosmetic customization sets, elite sets, and time savers. While the cosmetics themselves are fairly self-explanatory, elite sets are unique characters with names and backgrounds that can be used in multiplayer modes. They offer no gameplay advantage, but look kind of cool. Players can also purchase 2 types of time savers, either tier catch-ups or XP boost, both of which essentially speed up the rate at which you unlock items. Tier catch-ups will unlock chapter item rewards, a little like paying for Fortnite Battle Pass tiers, while XP boost accelerate the amount of experience points you earn while you play, and work for leveling up chapter, career, weapon, vehicle, and class ranks. In other words, you can unlock new cosmetics, weapons, and vehicles at a faster rate. Mercifully, there is no mention of loot boxes so far, and players can still use company coin earned through gameplay to unlock things like uncommon, common, and rare cosmetics. Out of these purchasable items, however, only the cosmetic customization items will be added tomorrow, or now today. 2 elite sets called Seamus and Ernest and time savers will apparently be added at a later date. So essentially what you're getting here today is just these cosmetic customizations, and the rest of it will be added in a further time. The online reaction to this seems rather mixed, as while many are excited by the elite sets, others are disappointed by the delays after weeks of waiting for new content. Deluxe Edition owners have been left feeling shortchanged, with many expressing disappointment that no extra coins have been given to them. Meanwhile, the patch notes for the 3rd update in Chapter 3, Trial by Fire, have just been released, and many of them are focused on balances and fixes for Firestorm, if you did want to dive into that. So right now, Battlefield 5 is going through a bit of a metamorphosis in a way. Of course, when it launched, it didn't get the attention that I feel like it deserved, because I picked it up relatively close to its release date. Of course, it was pushed back a bit towards the holiday season, the end of the holiday season, really, and it never did sell very well. And so now they've added a new Battle Royale mode, which is getting some traction, but largely feels like it's been a hit and a miss for a lot of people. But on top of that, you also have this addition of premium currency, which I feel like is a timely way to insert premium currency into the game. Of course, EA does not want to recreate the situation they had with Star Wars Battlefront 2, because whenever that game launched, it was riddled with microtransactions, forcing them to pretty much take them out entirely. But by the time they had fixed many of the big issues, a lot of people had just gone away from the game. And I feel like that's a lot of what they're trying to avoid with Battlefield 5, and I think they did that fairly well. But again, now you just kind of are left with a game that now it has microtransactions, but it still doesn't have a very large, overwhelmingly successful player base. Again, I don't have the figures in front of me. Battlefield 5 could be thriving, but in comparison to previous Battlefield games, it doesn't feel like the community is there for this one. It just doesn't feel like everybody is throwing themselves into this game in the way that a lot of people feel like they should be able to with a Battlefield game, because I grew up on Battlefield. It's one of the first big FPS games that I truly got into, and I love Battlefield 5, but again, I'm not one of those that continues to go back to it either. So maybe I'll dive in and give it a shot. I played Firestorm a couple of days back just to see how they did Battle Royale, and I think it's a pretty solid mode, a lot of issues, but it definitely doesn't have the same draw as an Apex Legends or even as a Fortnite, I would say. But if you did want to dive in and check it out, again, these updates are out right now. And of course, there is no season pass for Battlefield 5, so if you did want to check out the game itself, you don't have to worry if you feel like you don't have access to the newest content, because you do, and you can dive into it right now. But let's talk about these big new retail, wow, that was a little glitch there. Let's talk about these new retail listings for 3 big games coming to the Nintendo Switch, hypothetically. While retail listings are rarely sacrosanct, what a strange selection of word there. Let's look up what that one means, because I would love to be enlightened on that one. Especially of a principal, place, or routine regarded as too important or valuable to be interfered with. Okay, then. While retail listings are rarely... Again, whatever. They do sometimes let slip information that isn't meant for the public consumption quite yet, like last year's early E3 courtesy of Walmart Canada. That may or may not be the case with a recent listing leak from retailer Best Buy, which put up pages last night for Persona 5 for Switch, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and a very curious and inexplicable listing for The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The listings were found in Best Buy systems last night, though some employees we spoke with have suggested they have been there for a week or two and only recently spread onto social media. Images appeared on Twitter of a Best Buy employee terminal using the internal Core Blue product information interface, showing Persona 5 for Switch. The associated SKU code could be added to the point of sale system, the thing connected to the cash register, and bring up a ring up as a pre-order. Before long, Metroid Prime Trilogy was also found, and then A Link to the Past, all 3 featuring generic model numbers that are nonetheless consistent with the way Best Buy presents pre-release games. The listings were quickly taken down, but not before dozens of screenshots were taken. If the listings are true, it might hint towards Atlus's cryptic teasing for a Persona 5S the other day. A Switch version of the popular RPG has been long requested, and the Joker's upcoming appearance in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Let me back up for a minute. Let me finish. As DLC, let me back up for a minute. Not the Joker from Batman, but Joker, the character from Persona. Just to be clear, definitely feels like it's seeding the ground for something. Similarly, Metroid Prime Trilogy has been a rumor in many circles over the years, and with Nintendo rebooting Metroid Prime 4's development from the ground up, a Trilogy announcement might help keep fans satisfied until Retro Studios' new game can release, which will be a hot minute from now. The real head-scratcher here is A Link to the Past, the name of a classic 1991 SNES title, which many herald as one of the best Zelda games, if not one of the best games regardless of the series, of all time. It is unlikely to be a remake, as Nintendo has already announced that the Game Boy semi-sequel to A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, is being remade and released for the Switch later this year. Nintendo seems to have skewed the idea of individual game releases as part of a virtual console for the Switch, so selling a download code for a port of the game also seems strange. The listing for A Link to the Past is confusing enough that it might dispute the validity of the other games found yesterday as well. Fans are already speculating that these listings are meant for a Nintendo Direct later this month, but Nintendo, of course, is not talking. Regardless, Atlus has indicated that we will find out more about Persona 5S at the Persona Super Live concert near the end of April, so whatever they say there might help figure out the accuracy of the other listings as well. And so I think one of these things is not like the other when it comes down to it. I think that the Link to the Past is a strange one to actually include, but I feel like there's also something there. I feel like there's some validity in that listing, but again, what it is yet to be announced. Persona 5 for the Switch just makes sense. Of course, it looks like with the Joker DLC coming to the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it looks like that would be something that is much more reasonable. Of course, Persona is huge on the PlayStation Vita. One of the main reasons that people buy a PlayStation Vita in 2018 and 2019 is to get Persona 4 Golden. So for Persona 5 to come to the Switch is pretty much just the natural progression of things, because so many people that loved the PlayStation Vita have fallen in love with the Nintendo Switch. The Metroid Prime Trilogy also makes sense. With Metroid Prime 4 coming out at some point in the future, it just kind of is the common progression, as I keep saying, to go ahead and put the trilogy on the Nintendo Switch, because again, why not? Get people in there and give them something to play while Metroid Prime 4 is in development, and on top of that, you also get people to check out Metroid for the first time. I'm one of those that has never really given a deep dive into a Metroid game, so I would love to check it out if I ever got the opportunity. But let's move on to this Apex Legends story, because an Apex Legends fix has restored the progression that you might have noticed you lost. Anything you've done since the 1.1 patch won't stick around, though, as a pretty fair change-off, I would assume. If you fired up Apex Legends after the 1.1 patch on April the 2nd, only to panic as all of your progression was nowhere to be seen, do not panic, it is back. Respawn has fixed a mistake on its end that moved players to servers that didn't have their persistence, making it look as if all of their progress had been erased. Everything you did up until the moment 1.1 went live should be intact, and any currency will revert back to its prefix state. The game has not been free of problems since its debut, including cheaters, crashes, and balance issues. However, actual showstoppers have been rare. That's bound to be a relief for not only gamers, but also a developer hoping to keep its momentum as it takes on Fortnite pretty much head-on in that regard. So it's good to see this has been fixed. Of course, to kind of give a background, if you actually updated the game, you might have literally lost all of your progression. For some people, that is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. That would be terrifying to me. Again, at the end of the day, it's just a game, but to invest hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours is crushing if you just absolutely lose that indefinitely. So to see that it is back is good. Again, I didn't update it, thankfully. So if you do want to dive back in, everything should be there. But unfortunately to those that continue to play the game, it looks like you might have lost all that progression from yesterday. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But the Call of Duty Endowment has placed over 54,000 veterans in high-quality jobs, which is fantastic, and over 10,000 in 2018 alone. The Call of Duty Endowment has announced that it has helped over 54,000 veterans find high-quality careers, with 10,686 veterans being placed into well-paying jobs in 2018 alone. Since it began operations in 2009, the Call of Duty Endowment has been focused on its mission to help veterans find high-quality careers by supporting groups that prepare them for the job market. According to the Call of Duty Endowment, 1/3 of working veterans are underemployed, and the amount of veterans asking for help in this regard has increased by 59%. In 2018, the average cost per placement for veteran in jobs was $522 for the endowment, which is nearly 6 times as effective as the United States government's efforts. Calling them out in the press release. Dang. 93% of these job placements were for full-time work with an average starting salary of over $58,000, and in those positions showed a 87% 6-month retention rate. The endowment helped 11 organizations, awarding over $5.2 million in 2018 grants and $36 million in grants since 2009. While 50,000 veterans placed by the endowment is a huge milestone, it is only the beginning for the organization that hopes to place a total of 100,000 in high-quality jobs by 2024. Those interested, of course, can donate to the endowment, or they can purchase the Black Ops 4 Call of Duty Endowment Salute Pack, which features a tag, sticker, gesture calling card, and an emblem. Lastly, if you or someone you know is a veteran, transitioning service member, or service leave requiring assistance and looking for employment in the U.S. or the U.K., be sure to visit the Veteran Support section of the Call of Duty Endowment website to get the help needed for a job placement. So whenever this began back in 2009, of course, I was very young. At that point, I would have been 12. But with that being said, it's cool to see that something that was more of a side mention alongside the release of Modern Warfare 2 has become something that has changed the lives of over 54,000 veterans. That's fantastic. That's something that's fantastic in and of itself, but to be able to help these people that have helped countries around the world in so many ways is something that I think is incredibly useful, incredibly showing of what the gaming industry is capable of whenever this kind of movement, this kind of effort is put forth. So with that being said, if you do want to donate, of course you can. If you do want to get involved, of course you can. If you need help, of course you can always reach out and see if this is something that could definitely help your situation. But I did want to mention this because, hey, what better way to learn more about how to help than to talk about how people have been helped already. But with that being said, that rounds out today's episode of Caffeinate. Of course, if you are brand new to the show, it's hosted 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time over on twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams. If you did want to check it out on YouTube, it's youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia, and of course, you can check out anchor.fm/SamuelAdams, which has links to a variety of podcasting platforms around the internet. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic Thursday, almost to Friday, and I'll talk to you then. Peace.